Greetings and welcome to Old Drunken Discography, where old friends and fans come together to BS, argue, occasionally agree, and discuss a musical artist. This week's music artist was chosen by Prince, our Patreon supporter, our original Patreon supporter, a true OG. That's Prince down there.
Okay.
Tim's always here because he's a trooper.
Usually.
I'm always here. I'm Jason.
Because he's the editor.
Bill's gone. The elderly, New Day. He had to go back out and help him cross the street. So,
well, it's like Batman doesn't have jurisdictions, and if Batman has to go to Hong Kong to bring somebody back to Gotham, Batman's gonna go to Hong Kong.
What a guy! What a guy!
We miss you, Bill.
We are. What are we doing? We're speaking in tongues. That's what we're doing. All right. Who wants to start this one? I don't
already thinking of a different speaking in tongues.
You already thinking of it?
I mean, I'll start this one off if you want. Sure. Yeah, we kind of alluded to it in the last episode, if I remember correctly.
We did.
This is the big one, and we're going to start off with arguably the biggest single of their career, "Burning Down the House."
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know. I'm certainly of the age where I can't not hear that and enjoy it. It's just a fun song. But I can understand where, like, if you didn't grow up with it, it's a little goofy. And unfortunately, it kind of leads into a weird album. Definitely sounds very early 80s, like they're really trying to incorporate I think back then, and world music was getting pretty popular, and synthesizers were getting pretty popular, and hip hop was getting pretty popular, and new wave and punk rock were going, and we'll speak more to that in an upcoming episode. But making Flippy Floppy, it's just like it's there. Great title, but I do like Girlfriend Is Better. That was a single. That's really catchy song. And then, Slippery People, and I Get Wild, Wild Gravity. Is that what it's called? I mean, we're bordering on dubstep here. It's very repetitive. It's kind of danceable. Like, I could see being able to dance to it, but I could also be saying like, what is this? I don't really have any notes for Swamp. But Moon Rocks, it kind of takes that 12-inch dance remix dubstep that was very popular in the early 80s and does it well. By the end of that, I was hypnotized into the groove and enjoying it. It was I liked that song. And then we got Pull Up the Roots and This Must Be the Place. Like, it's an interesting album, being their most popular album, you could argue. But it's also their fifth. We're on number 5 at this point. So this is we're a long way from the first album. We've definitely kind of perfected the previous 4 albums. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to say anything else without ruining my ranking. Like it's like none, Color Code will tell all. None of these are bad albums. But this one was kind of peaks and valleys for me. Peaks and valleys.
Man, everything you said almost was the exact opposite for me.
Okay. Yeah, it's perfect.
Minus the opening track, that's a classic. Flippy Floppy, great lyrics, super fun vocal melody, also super familiar somehow. And I don't think that was a single, so I don't know why. Girlfriend, a lot of layers, but it felt like buildings and food. Just wanted to get on the disco floor and cut a rug with it. Slippery People sounded more like Fear of Music for me. It worked. My only issue with these songs, they are all so damn long. I know 5-minute long songs are the norm but for me, like, the perfect song length is like 3 minutes or less. I Get Wild had mild undertones of reggae going on, which was cool. Swamp, I loved it. Top song contender. It was low and dirty, at least for the Talking Heads. And I loved the lyrics. Now let me tell you a story. The devil, he has a plan. A bag of bones in his pocket. Get anything you want. Moon Rocks, I just wanted to sing She's a Brick House on Moon Rocks. But like you, it grew on me by the end of it. I was like, okay, yeah, that works. Pull Up the Roots, another strong one. B-sides coming along nicely, which is change. The chorus melody was super cool. The closing track, This Must Be a Place. Ever since Tim had said the whole Sting solo thing, it's been creeping in the back of my mind. But
it's present.
It jumped out loud and clear on this one.
Yeah.
Another thing this one reminded me of was the YouTube channel Taste Like Music's little intro song that they have. It had similar vibes to that.
Interesting. Okay, I'll have to check that channel out.
Yeah, they got that same weird little vibe, I guess. It's not as bad. It's just not as good as some of the previous closers. This might be the first time since 77 that the B-side was strong. My only complaint is the album could have easily cut off about 10 minutes of the runtime, shorten each song by a minute, minute and a half, and it would have been perfect. That's what I got for Speaking in Tongues.
I think Speaking in Tongues is kind of like quintessential Talking Heads, where it's like it starts off strong, it ends real strong, and in the middle it's just fucking goofy. Like, it's wacky. It's all over the place. There's heavy dance. There's heavy reggae influence. There's heavy everything. Just kind of really experimental. Which, being where's it from? 85? 83?
We're still early 80s. Yeah.
Being in
that and let's point out too, we get 5 albums in 6 years. That's impressive in and of itself.
Yeah, they were prolific.
Yeah.
Just pumping out. But I love this album. Not to give it away. It's definitely one of my favorites.
I didn't know this was their biggest one.
Yeah. It's just fun. It's a fun album. It's a great album cover.
Well, and it's interesting because, going back through this discography, you start remembering the songs that were singles and like, oh, yeah, that song was huge. Oh, yeah, I have heard this before. And, but yeah, it's hard to argue anything being bigger than Burning Down the House.
Yeah. What about
Take Me to the River, maybe? But that's a cover.
That's a cover. This must
and
be
that's
the
only
place.
big because of the singing fish.
Yeah. This must be the place. I don't know if that's just like a regional thing, but like that is huge here. What's his name?
I mean, it's
Powers.
huge everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Steve Powers is a graffiti artist in New York. He used to spray paint that all over the place around like here in New York, here in like Philly.
Nice.
Which is kind of a thing that you used to see coming into the city and leaving the city every day, which is really nice, really cool to see. So that one always stuck with me too, hard.
Interesting album cover, though. We'll get to that. We'll get to the artwork, but I have some thoughts on that.
Stick around for Is It Art? Coming up in 4 or 5 episodes?
Yeah, I think we're going to stretch Talking Heads out over 2 weeks. 8, 9,
and that's
10
where
videos,
we remind everybody it's a playlist channel.
Click the playlist.
For bands.
Go back to the very beginning, learn our history with the band and where we're coming from.
Fall asleep somewhere in the middle of it and then wake up and try to remember where you were at.
Make a drinking game out of every time I say stick around. Take a shot. All right. And we have a Patreon if you'd like to give us an artist. Come on the show. Drinking is not a required part of it. It's just, welcomed. Shit, I got the dot too. man. All right, let's see here. I think Prince is going to have a number one.
I don't know, maybe.
Let's go number one. Unless you counter.
You're right.
All right. Tim's the hard one, though. I think Tim's going to have it number 3.
You are correct, sir.
Holy shit. We are an unscripted show. Where did I have it? I had it at number 2. I still like that first record.
That first record is really good.
Yeah.
I got a hot take coming up, though.
You know, based on this ranking right now where it stands, I think we're all about to have a hot take.
Really?
In one of these episodes. Maybe even 2.
Stick around. For that. Yeah, see, we're unscripted. I don't know how to wrap this up. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. Stay tuned for Little Creatures up next. And always help the elderly across the street. Be safe and make great decisions.
And then you go a little woo, and then a little whoop, 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 and then it's all, and then you're ready to go again.